So, testing Hawken Reborn. Now, I was kind of worried about this because when I looked up the engine Hawken was made on, it was Unreal Engine 3. But downloading this, I mean, it's free to play. It's actually Unreal 4, and the files actually call it Hawken 2. So, yeah, it seems like kind of a new game. This is free to play, so take that as you will. So I guess accessible, but also kind of unappealing in its own right. So yeah, can't skip the cutscenes. Oh yeah, I've still got hardware acceleration turned on. Apologies, I need to turn that off. Yeah. So my initial thought actually when playing this was, oh, it's like a mech game. So, and I saw there was no controller support, just like on Steam. So I was just kind of like, oh, I'll just use keyboard or mouse or whatever. But actually, later in this video, I do try the freed-off motion controls, and they do work. So apologies for not setting up a camera to show me waggling my right controller around. But yeah, at the moment, just I actually had a PlayStation controller plugged in, and I changed that for an Xbox controller in a second. Because I think this is like originally like an Xbox One game. It looks pretty nice. So I immediately noticed there was volumetric clouds. That I could see through textures, but in the UEVR mod, I can literally just turn off volumetric clouds, which I do there, and then that fixes it. So we're all good. Like throughout playing it, there was a few things that was only one eye, like cloud, fog stuff, and some reflections, but it was pretty minor. Like I had to really squint and close one eye and close the other one to see them. The menu is really weird. Like even on controller, you have to like, like if you pause it, you get this menu, and then you have to use like the keys on your keyboard. So you just have to be close to your keyboard to play this. It's pretty janky. And like I was playing with the keyboard and mouse, and also had the controller plugged in, and it is really sensitive. And like I tried dialing it down, and it was still pretty bad, like still pretty sensitive. So oh yeah, here I just I've gone to grab my Xbox controller because I was like, oh well, it probably doesn't like PlayStation, right? Because it's like I remember this being like a big Xbox One game for the system when it didn't have any games. People were hyped about it. Here we go. Yeah, and as it's paused, what you see is it just goes back to my flat screen, which is why kind of the VR view was paused. So yeah, I'm plugging an Xbox controller, and I'm playing with that now, and it's like super sensitive, like uncomfortably sensitive. So I'll turn it like all the way down. I'm just checking the settings as well. It's on full screen, but it's working. So camera shake off, turn that off. You don't want extra shake when your VR headset. Turn VSync off. But it seems like it's all epic settings. It's running pretty well. And I'm at like 3K by 3K. So yeah, looks pretty good. I kind of wish this had like joysticks and stuff. And the annoying thing is like with the when I turn motion controls on, and even with the controller, the cockpit really like snaps to your look. It's kind of awkward. Like it's a bit weird. It's not as like decoupled as I thought like a mech game would be. So here you go. I'm turning down the sensitivity. Just see if that like fixes it and whatnot. Doesn't really. A button is jump, and later in this I actually zoom out to see what, like if there's a third person like model, but there's just a floating cockpit with arms. So you can't just like get a third person view. It's pretty weird. This I have a cutscene later, and I'm not sure whether it's like AIR or not. The voice acting is interesting, but it is a free game. But it looks like usual resource nonsense, currency, premium currency upgrading, slow grind type thing. I'm surprised there was no anti-cheat or anything, but I don't know how many people are going to be playing this, so probably not worth paying for it. I mean, the distance, I mean, it looks good. Like, well, I say it looks good. It looks, interesting. I mean, it's not blowing my socks off, but because you're always kind of like looking far into the view. I mean, it's nice to have your like all this extra detail on your periphery, but when you're actually in game, you're kind of looking in the distance, and that's where it looks rubbish. But like if you're close up to stuff, it's good. And like the UI, what's weird to me about this is there's a UI, and it's not like in the cockpit. Like my immediate reaction was like, why isn't like the health bar? And I was looking at the dials and stuff to see whether they changed, like in I don't know, that Jedi Squadron, the EA Star Wars Squadron game, where you have a cockpit that actually reacts to things. So I've turned on the motion controls now, and it's very like odd. The whole cockpit moves with your arm. So just imagine me waving my hand around right now. And I don't know if I like it. It's actually smoother than the controller and the PC control. So I actually quite liked it and ended up playing most of it with the motion controls. I go back and I'm just double checking myself. I'm like, the cockpit surely doesn't move, and what it does, it just kind of like it snaps, right? You can see it is following your view almost exactly, with a bit of like, you see when you're boosting, it kind of moves backwards and forward a little bit. But pretty much, I mean, that is correct. I mean, the cockpit is locked to your view, so when you are moving around, it just does it as well. It just looks a little bit comical.
That's okay. I can mind my own business. Jump down here.
So we can put again. Just it's all. Annoyingly, the tutorial doesn't have like the controller buttons. This is like such an uncontroller friendly game. I moved myself a little bit forward in the cockpit, just slightly, because it felt like I was a bit far back. I want to be hovering over the instruments, even though they don't do anything. But maybe you need like a premium mech. Maybe that's just say for premium mechs in this level. Now, one thing, at least the crosshair is pretty accurate in this, which is good. I like a good accurate crosshair when we inject the mod. So I mean, this is pretty much like kind of works perfectly, I would say. But I mean, the jank with the cockpit moving along with your motion controls, as long as you don't go crazy, it doesn't look too bad. Like that, like you just suddenly go all the way up. And like some shaders, like this is probably all works well, really. But the fact it's free and that it works this well, this will be a pretty good game. It seems like online was working. I mean, it didn't get like banned. Normally that kind of stuff bans you immediately on injection. I don't really see any competitive advantage from being in VR, especially the way that how the cockpit moves, basically with look. So.
Especially piloting that wreck. I'm impressed. Next stop, checkpoint Alpha.
It's got like the Titanfall vibe. Oh my god, it just makes me want Titanfall in VR, honestly. and honestly, if you want like a VR mech game, you might be better off playing like MechWarrior 5. It's got like a good VR mod. That's Unreal as well, but they've got proper VR mod support with like their mod tools. And that's not a free-to-play game, so you're not going to have FOMO, real-time grinding nonsense. But yeah, there's like, luckily actually the default mappings on the motion controls were pretty good. So left grip was dash, right grip was jump, left stick in like runs, and then you got left trigger, right trigger, and then like the buttons do like interact and stuff, and then the pause menu works, at least in OpenXR. I don't know if there was like D-pad functions. Maybe I should have tested that. It didn't seem like there was anything immediate that needed the D-pad. I imagine this is like kind of a simplified arcade version of MechWarrior 5, I think. And this is the first of the second time I just suddenly get like stuck or fall down a hole in this game. I should just forget the bindings for jump, and I'm like boosting, trying to get out of it. But I think the main thing is just like having a decoupled look in these kind of games is just so freeing, especially when you're in a vehicle. Just being able to like look left, right, and exactly where you're going.
Pushing through. Camp Alec is just ahead.
It's kind of because this game actually had a native VR support when it was like on the Vive, I think, really early version. I don't know if that's still around or on Steam or anything, but yeah, I was kind of surprised this one didn't have VR support because it's kind of, I mean, it works so well. I mean, I would imagine the devs would have tried it in VR, right? Like just turned it on and seen in the headset because it's pretty easy enough to do, like what we're doing here. And it's not that much extra to add controls, but the design choice to have the cockpit like so linked to where the gun arms are is kind of weird. And it seems like, I don't know if this is like one like semi-open world map where you come back and do missions in, because like after I unlock the FTP kind of free-to-play menu bit where I upgrade some stuff, I come back out here to the same area with like some more freeform objectives. The movement is nice. The movement feels pretty good. Some nice power core effects. Yeah, I can tell straight away it's like not not Unreal Engine 3. And that's why I was looking at the screenshots on the Steam page and I was like, that doesn't quite look like Unreal Engine 3. So yeah, I was glad I downloaded it at least to see if it would work. I was going to do Layers of Fear. I need to do that before the demo disappears. But I've got a whole bunch of other stuff to do. Just been going to the gym every day this week, feeling pretty good, feeling pretty healthy. It's really nice weather in the UK right now, so just kind of enjoying going out, doing stuff. But yeah, this weekend got a lot of stuff on the backlog to test. Quite easy, yeah, a couple of dozen things easily to test, I think. And then there's a whole bunch of new UE games coming out. End of the month, like towards then. Ah, where does that go? On my team. We've suddenly gained a new AI. Yeah, it's so bizarre that like the UI just isn't on the actual game model. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if like a premium mech model has that stuff. And like when you start seeing these damage numbers, I'm like, okay, free to play game.
Get up the cliff quickly.
But hey, this is a free game. This is a free game, so you get extra points for being free. But then you just kind of like imagine the pang of what it could be if it wasn't a free to play game.
You're one heck of a pilot.
This is like your home base thing. It's got like teleports, and I noticed this was where we were when we started the game. Like the main menu, it was kind of like an unlit version of this environment.
Quick now, connect to the portal up there and return to hangar. The med team is
It's like a stamina bar, and I'm like too impatient to wait for it to fully regen. I keep just I'm like, oh, that should be enough, right? That should be enough, and a boost. No, yeah. And this started like turning when I got close, so I didn't realise the use button because it says F. Press F to use, and it was like X or Y on the controller, I think. And yeah, you can't move the cursor, so you have to be right next to your keyboard. So like, there's not really controller support for this. Like you can use the motion controls, but you have to be right next to your keyboard to be able to do some of this stuff. So this is like a really weird thing where I don't know, this looks like a mid-journey AI generation. I don't know what you guys think. I mean, it's like, oh, it's a nice photo shoot kind of. And then kind of like AI animated as well. I don't know if you've seen like those Harry Potter by Balenciaga videos. It kind of looks like that. And like this comic book font is triggering me right now.
Injuries from the crash have healed nicely, but we found something strange on your cortical.
Oh, it's like a load of just like stock photos smashed together, kind of like a Mass Effect. Tally's face reveal, just a stock photo. And we're in this nice basement, which is where you get like to upgrade your mechs and stuff. And you can't skip this. You can't skip this. And I'm recording this, watching it again, and I can't skip this again.
That's an island on the planet Ilal. The whole planet's quarantined because of a nanite contagion. I'm afraid anyone
So there's like
can't leave.
too long didn't watch. I was really just not paying attention to the story.
We're humanitarians.
I get it. Oh,
We'll do our best to help
we're a
you,
mech
medically or
warrior.
otherwise. You seem to be a capable mech pilot, and there's a lot of demand for that here on the island, so you'll have plenty of work while we figure things.
You know, your cutscene is bad when like an empty warehouse is more interesting to me. It's like, here we go. So early access, blah 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 blah. Yep. So yeah, I'm like trying to see this. So this is all keyboard. Oh, the effects are nice, like upgrading, repairing. I'll buy a new gun. If the devs are watching, yeah, that's my player ID and my username if you want to ban me. Yeah, I kind of wanted to work like a third person as well. But it's cool, it's cool. This came out today, yesterday, I think last night. Alright, I'll buy a gear. And the tutorial is just straight into like another mission, okay. So it's good it hasn't taken to a cash shop yet. Yeah, see levels slowly starting to load. You see behind the curtain when you do these VR mods of flat screen games. So yeah, I'm going to show you some gameplay of the rest of the missions. But yeah, I'll try and upload a bit more. It's been busy, and I kind of want to increase the production values of this a bit so people can enjoy them a bit more. Yeah, sorry I didn't record footage of me because I really didn't think motion controls would be like a thing in this, but yeah, pleasantly surprised. Thanks guys.
Your mech will mark the area where I'd like you to search for clues. If you need more information, you can always open your mech pad. Have a go. An icon will appear on your HUD when you're near something of interest. Then you can move in close to scan it.
Why that ship is here, you imbecile? Are they working for Krusk? Are they spies for the UTA? Get that survivor and find out. Sir. Oh. Oh no. Sir, the Xanadu is... Oh. Damn.
Go, go, go! Do not let that survivor reach Camp Valak. Those bloody hippies are too much of a wild card.
Bandits, heading your way.
Greetings, my pilot. I am Nix, Smith and molecular engineer. I shall make and upgrade your equipment using resources such as those provided by your fallen foes here. You may also find schematics. I will gladly make any new component designs you obtain, if you can also provide the necessary materials.